he ran through the gamut of every false fact he knew about every case. Do you know about Ahmed Arbery or whatever? And then he went to the George Floyd, and then he's just. You want to know what makes me the most angry about Tim? Why I wouldn't feel bad seeing him like locked up for the crimes that he's committing against my country. You know what?
What's happening, everybody? Destiny and some liberal buddy of his recently reacted to Tim Pool's interview with liberal fruitcake Luke Beasley. Along with his usual nonsensical ranting and horrible takes, Destiny actually says that he thinks Tim Pool should be arrested in this clip. Yeah, you heard that right. Anyway, let's watch Destiny make a complete fool of himself for the 678th consecutive time while attempting to smear Tim Pool. Let's go.
Say on. Somebody was like, "Oh, well, Trump has the right to sue, doesn't he?" And it's like, or I might have even been watching Tim Pool and Luke, who, let's just take 1 second. What is Luke, like 21?
22.
22?
Yeah.
Newish to internet content, a couple years, steps into the lion's den with like fucking 5 or 6. There was one time where the camera changed. I was like, who is this guy? There's like another conservative.
Yeah, they actually like wheeled somebody else. They're like, shit, we have some real estate here. Yeah.
And there's, yeah, and I'm like, and simultaneously, I would like to blaze Luke for, I don't know if this is intentional or if it was just his demeanor, okay? But it was so funny that, because and I'm not making fun of him, but he has kind of, I don't know if I would say like an aloof demeanor. I was really worried watching Tim go on that rant about whatever. And Luke was just kind of like sitting there, kind of like looking and not interrupting. I'm like, oh, Luke doesn't know any of the facts on this. And I just remember by the 6 or 7 minute end of this, Luke was like, wait, you're going to admit that all of you guys were completely and totally wrong on all of that, right?
I don't think I was wrong.
You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. Communications? What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Oh my God. Like, listen to this guy.
Enrique Tarrio crafted a memo outlining who they,
Tim is discovering this live. Oh no.
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
He's 22 years old, and he's in a room with 4 other people that sit here and do these stupid shows every single day, and not a single one of these disgusting Russian puppet treasonous, not a single one of them even knows enough to give the bullshit counter arguments, let alone the actual fact. Oh, who the f is this guy? How many conservatives did they have to roll up for this kid?
And then they move on. Yeah, I mean,
there were like 5 of them in there, and after
Like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it.
Tim does this whole thing about like, you don't know the facts, you don't know the case, you haven't read anything, you're just giving it a liberal, blah 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 blah. And then Luke's like, well, let's go read this. And then to watch Tim, by the way, go through the fucking Wikipedia on a federal conviction, where there are like, to watch somebody try to figure out what somebody's charged with a crime for and not just Google the charging document when it's like it's an insanely public federal case. And they're like, well, what's the evidence for this? I was like, you know, he was convicted, you moron, right? It's not just a tweet. But Luke eviscerated.
He killed it.
It was insane.
My favorite part, besides, I mean, the one that went the most viral was that moment. It was the first, like the 3-minute clip of just like Tim screaming at Luke. That was the thing that went viral. Then Benny Johnson, for some dumb reason, presumably because he didn't watch the end of his own clip,
or because he was getting paid by somebody at the Kremlin. But go ahead.
Potentially, comrade. By the way, you did this thing. I don't know if it's Tim Pool. You did this thing the other day, and I was listening to you. I had you in my back pocket. I think I was at the gym, and it was Dave Smith or somebody. That's who it was. Anytime he would speak, I heard like music in the background. I kept thinking like I was sitting, like it was like, is this an ad or something?
Oh no, that's just what he sounds like when he talks.
Right, you're playing. You're
what he sounds like when he talks.
These Russian anthems. But anyway, yeah. So at the end of that 7-minute clip that Benny Johnson shared is exactly what you were talking about. Them fact checking themselves in real time, and you can just see Tim wilt. And that's when Luke says, you know, or we're just gonna skip over what you said. But to me, the funnier one, and it's petty, because anybody could have made this mistake, was a few minutes later, they were talking about allegations against prominent conservatives, like, for example, Pete Hegseth, who has been accused of sexual misconduct. And Tim Pool goes on this whole spiel. He's like, do you believe so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-so? And then he drops another name. And he meant to say Christine Blasey Ford, who was the woman who accused Brett Kavanaugh, current Supreme Court justice. But he f***ed up her name. Again, anybody could do this.
Did this other guy on there just say that he had Destiny in his back pocket? That checks out. I have no doubt Destiny has been in his back pocket. I didn't know that's what they called it these days. Well, I'm convinced Destiny showed us a 10-second clip of him reacting to about 3 seconds of an hour or so interview. Just when I think Destiny's takes can't get any worse, I hear him say something like this. I don't know if you saw this segment he's talking about with Tim Pool and Luke Beasley. They were debating January 6th. And, you know, I have no love lost for stupid liberal talking heads like Destiny, Luke Beasley, Pac-Man. But even me, I almost felt bad for Luke Beasley. It was such an epic beatdown. When I watched it, I literally thought, ooh, this is going to go viral, which it may have. I don't know what qualifies a video as going viral, but I was like, good Lord, this kid is outmatched. Unlike Destiny, I acknowledge that I have bias, but I'm telling you, this video was embarrassing for Luke Beasley. He looked like a little kid getting scolded. It was really embarrassing. Unfortunately, for someone who is young like Luke Beasley and starting out in this stuff, he has dumbasses like Destiny and David Pac-Man patting him on the back for one of the worst debate performances I've ever seen. So he's thinking, wow, these really cool guys, David Pac-Man and Destiny, think I did great. I'm really good at this. So all that's going to do is end up turning him into just another Destiny that thinks he's smarter than everyone else and has no humility. If you had good friends around you, they could give you some constructive criticism. You could be introspective a little bit, say, okay, how can I avoid that in the future? But for him, he's got people telling him he did a great job when nothing could be further from the truth. But this is how desperate losers like Destiny and David Pac-Man have become now that Trump has won, that they're really becoming unhinged. I mean, you'll never see a video of Destiny acknowledging that Donald Trump has ever done anything right. Shoot, forget Donald Trump. He'll never say a Republican did anything right. And he claims that he's able to step back from things and not have any bias.
He's like, do you believe Christine Hoff Sommers? And Luke says, wait, which one was that? And he said that was the woman who accused Brett Kavanaugh. He's like, oh, yeah, I believe her. And he's like, do you remember all this and that? And Luke said the responsible thing. He's like, well, listen, you know, if we're going to debate that, I'd want to brush up on the facts and everything, blah, blah, blah. And Tim ends it with, you know, the difference between conservatives and liberals is, you know, knowing what you're talking about. But he f***ed up her name. And so to me, it's like, that's like to be the ultimate Tim Pool microcosm there, like going out of your way to lecture somebody on how much they know or don't know, and you get even their fucking name wrong.
Christine Hoff Sommers, she was popular for all of a hot minute as like the anti-feminist feminist or something, right? I remember her, yeah. I can't believe there were so many stupid things. He tried to lecture him on, you don't know anything about defamation per se or whatever. And Tim didn't even know what that meant. And he gave an incorrect assessment of what that even meant. And then he did, he ran through the gamut of every false fact he knew about every case. Do you know about Ahmaud Arbery or whatever? And then he went to the George Floyd, and then he's just. You want to know what makes me the most angry about Tim? Why I wouldn't feel bad seeing him like locked up for the crimes that he's committing against my country. You know what made me the most angry about Tim? And I think it's the most scathing indictment of their character. You've seen the Tim Pool thing. Ukraine is the enemy of the people. We owe Russia to or whatever bullshit. Did you know that Tim was on the ground during Euromaidan in 2014?
No,
Did I ever say? He has a whole Reddit thread where he's doing an AMA about Euromaidan, and he's answering questions. They're like, oh, what's it like? And he's like, I'm on the ground. There's a lot of genuine fervor from the people. There's like hundreds of thousands of people out here. And they're like, oh, like, does it seem like are there so many specific questions that he'll like be completely contradictory to today. They're like, oh, is there far right protests? He's like, there's like a few people that are trying to stir shit up, but like for the most part, no, it's just a ton of people. And he's like, why are they protesting? And it's like, they have genuine angst because the leader seemed like he wanted to go pro-Russia and the people of Ukraine wanted to be pro-European. Like he knew all of this. Not only did he know it all, he knew it all like as he was on the ground reporting about it 10 years ago, I guess when he was a contractor for Vice. And to see him 180 completely dated because the money's there for it is so fucking disgusting to me.
I mean, it's sad, but he's hardly the only like formerly credible journalist. Like Matt Taibbi is another great example. You want to talk about a guy who's just, I mean, he's just killed his own credibility. Michael Schellenberger, you know.
I don't know, man. I spoke with somebody about Schellenberger a while ago. I wonder sometimes if these guys were ever good or if they just got really lucky with some story.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, like I know Taibbi was, I don't want to say a household name, but he was like pretty reputable as far as journalists were concerned. Um, but like, you want to talk about a guy who's just become like a token conservative, mouthpiece. I mean, I am not aware of a position, and again, maybe they're out there because I don't like follow his account, but I'm not aware of a major conservative position when it comes to speech that Taibbi and Schellenberger don't sim for. I mean, Schellenberger is out here like taking the conservative position on the LA wildfires, right? Just like the budget.
I'm not joking when I say I didn't even know there was a conservative position on the LA wildfires. Maybe I'm not used to speaking liberal retard. Maybe he's referring to the position of someone with eyes, ears, and a brain. I mean, is there even a debate as to how poorly they've been mismanaged? You want to talk about partisan hackery? You're accusing Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger of that? Destiny wants Tim Pool locked up for crimes against his country. Destiny, you hate this country. At least the words you say would indicate that you hate this country, because every position that you take is another step in the direction of destroying this country. So I don't think your massive love of country is why you want Tim Pool locked up. You want Tim Pool locked up because he disagrees with you. And by the way, this isn't a new position of Destiny's. He has said multiple times that he wants all prominent conservative voices like banned from every platform. I don't know if he's said locked up before, but that's just more evidence of my point that whether he knows it or not, every position he takes is in an effort to destroy the country. Right there, he wants to destroy free speech. As a matter of fact, I think Destiny made some reference in this to the conservative position on free speech. Again, it's kind of like the conservative position on the LA wildfires that his buddy was talking about. What's the conservative position on speech? There's really just one. We want free speech. That's all of it. Since I watch so much of these guys, I'm becoming more and more numb to these videos. The only thing that frustrates me is that there are young people watching this, which again, I really truly do not understand who could possibly listen to this guy, take him seriously. I mean, maybe if you want to talk about video games, and these young people are being infected with his nihilistic ideology. Frustrated might not even be the right word, just sad, because that's no way for someone to go through life. I'll just have to pray that more and more people kind of see through all of his nonsense and that there's really nothing there but just an angry guy that needs to lower his dose. But what did you guys think of this conversation between these two fruits? I think they're both idiots. I know that's surprising to you, but tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if they made some really, really great points. Or let me know if you saw that Tim Pool, Luke Beasley interview. As a matter of fact, they just did a follow-up one recently. Not as many fireworks in that one, but I'm sure Destiny thought Luke Beasley owned him. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like watching people like Destiny just talk out of their ass, then click on one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. Otherwise, as always, I really, really appreciate everyone who watches my channel. I'm so grateful that I get to do this. I really, really enjoy it. And just thank you so much for the support. The end.